Find yourself a booth, order up a cold one. This is the Spring Bar.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Spring Bar Studios West. This is the bonus content. So if you are a regular follower of either Joe or myself or the show, you will know that I have come out here to California to visit with Joe for the last few days. And there's been a lot of posting that's been going on Instagram, a lot of confusing stuff. I've been posting on my watch account, the show account, my personal account on Facebook. I have got so many posts going out. I don't know which way is up anymore. My head is spinning. So we kind of wanted to take the opportunity to sit here and just go through the happenings that Joe and I have been going through, and the meetups and the sites and the people, and just kind of break down all the events that have been going on for the last few days. And because I'm sure everybody is going to want to know. So this is our first time meeting
in person. Yeah.
In person. We have been friends since 2020, known each other for the last 3 years now, a little more than 3 years.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
No shit.
Yep.
Okay.
And we have always talked about meeting up, making a trip one way or the other. You are completely stubborn. So
I went to the East Coast 2 years ago.
We compromised. We met in the middle, and I flew 3,000 miles out to LA.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
well worth it.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It's a good time.
It was a good time.
You had a good time. So Mike came in we're recording on a Sunday. Mike came in on a Wednesday night, and pick him up from the airport, which is its own travails and fiasco, but that's beside the point.
LA traffic does not disappoint.
Right. It's a thing. But this was exceptional for even LA traffic, which so the story is like, a true friend is someone who is willing to pick you up at LAX, but you would never ask them to. That would be me.
Is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go with
that. That's how you know who your real friends are. so
I feel like a true friend is the one that lets you crash on his couch for 4 nights.
No. LAX is much worse.
Okay.
Much worse. So we had a whole bunch of stuff that was kind of scheduled. Thursday was the initial goal was to go up into LA and to go see some of the watch shops that were in and around LA. But one of the meetup groups that I'm a member of, the OC Chrono group, shout out to Mike and Ramin and all the guys, who they do a meeting once a month, but they announce it kind of late. And the announcement came after we sort of set an itinerary, and it's like, okay, they're going to have a meetup Thursday night at our regular location, which means more people are going to show. And it's always an exceptional evening. The watches are fantastic. The people that are there are really, really nice. It's a really great event. So scheduled that instead of going up into LA to go see some of the shops that were there. And then Friday we had a dinner that was scheduled with another watch group, the Neighborhood Watch Club out of Hollywood-ish.
Was that Friday?
Area. That was Friday night.
That wasn't last night?
No, that wasn't last night.
What did we do last night? See, this is why we're doing this video, because we need to break down what's really happened. It's been
Saturday night.
That's right. We did. Okay. Yeah. So Friday night was the dinner.
Friday night was the dinner. and we got to travel around to places that I have never been before. It was very exciting. Very exciting. And then Saturday we had a meetup with a friend of ours who's been on the show, and our Mr. Caravel.
So Watches with Oliver.
Watches with Oliver came down.
Yeah.
He's relatively local, so he came down. We did a barbecue and got the chance to show stuff off and whatnot. And then this is Sunday, so Sunday morning we went up and did a Chronographs and Coffee meetup through
Chronographs, Cars, and Coffee.
Chronographs, Cars, and Coffee.
Coffee and Chronographs. There were cars and watches
and coffee
and coffee.
And coffee. So we did that, and that was through Neighborhood Watch Club as well. And so Jared Cooper has put together a pretty neat little gathering. So we got the chance to go do all of that stuff. And this is like Mike's first real experience with the organized watch culture, I guess.
Yeah. So let's talk about the Thursday meet.
Okay.
We don't have, and if there is, I don't know about it.
You're not cool.
I'm not part of the cool club.
Okay.
We don't have any sort of organized watch meet groups in Central Florida. It's Miami, and there is a Red Bar Tampa, but for where I'm at, Tampa is depending on where they're at, it could be up to 2 hours away. So it's not, there's nothing local in the Orlando area, which I'm based out of. So I only get to live vicariously through the followers on the Instagrams or through the shows that you go to, because you'll text me and say, hey, I'm going to a meetup tonight, bringing 5 watches. What should I bring?
Right.
And then we'll discuss real quick and say, well, you should go for this theme, or you should bring these ones, or don't forget you bought that one. And then you get to go and have all the fun and tell me about how everybody loved your stuff. So it was not a wake-up call, but it was interesting to see, because you always hear about the cheapest show at the meetup is the one that will do the best.
Yeah.
You can have an AP Royal Oak offshore, you can have an Omega triple calendar, whatever, blazed in platinum and diamonds, you can have the chrono chimes, you can have whatever, but somebody's going to walk in with a Seiko reissue, and that's the one everybody's going to go crazy for.
There was a meetup I went to that there were 2 5711s, one in rose gold with a Tiffany stamp dial, and the new Timex Q Snoopy stole the show.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it goes, because if you're surrounded by a genuine watch enthusiast, it's like, okay, yes, that's really cool, but this is also really cool. And there's the parity between the two. And so the groups that I have been a part of and that I'm a member with, the membership is very well curated, I guess, for lack of a better term. And the people that make the time to come to these things, they understand the enthusiast, and they understand not just the average enthusiast, but the person who is willing to travel to be an enthusiast. And they bring stuff that's exceptional. There's stuff. So the meetup that we were at on Thursday, without naming any names, because there were some pretty heavy hitting collectors. There's some Instagram celebrities. There's people that you will know. And they had brought two different Speak Marins.
There was
the list is it was a stupid list of stuff there. You got your a couple different Omega Bond versions, a bunch of Grand Seikos, a bunch of regular Seikos, Omega.
The number of moon swatches that were there,
the full selection of moon swatches
in the moon swatch briefcase, the whole 9 yards,
right?
I mean, it was amazing.
Micro brands, Balcel, other things like that.
So that's my point. Is there was $500,000 worth of watches there
easily,
but here's the thing. The one watch that everybody wanted to come up and take a look at was the Caravel World Time, or not the Caravel, the time. Oh, I'm going to get in trouble for that. Caravel World Time.
You're going down.
Is the Timex World Time, because this is the new release, the newest reissue, the hottest Timex that's out right now. It's sold out. You can't buy them. Well, maybe now, I haven't looked, but when we were at the meetup, you couldn't buy them. They were sold out. And everybody's like, oh, that's the new one. Oh, I've been wanting to see this. Oh, that's very cool. Oh, can I take a picture of it? Oh, can I try it on? Oh, and they're like, a crowd was forming, and like these guys that are double wristing APs, are wanting to see the $179 watch.
And then Mike also brought down the new Bulova Jetstar, which nobody else had seen either, because it had just hit stores recently.
Nobody has seen it. Everybody knew what it was, and everybody had real good stuff to say about it.
Very, very well reviewed. But as all of this is going on, there's suddenly this weird sound and noise, and there's a buzz, and you go over, and a gentleman had unveiled his yellow car polishing cloth, and onto that he was placing every iteration of Omega triple chronograph watches, all the case shapes, all and we're like Persian dial iterations, and you're looking at that as like, I know that nobody knows what these are, we can all respect exactly what it is, but nobody's ever seen these. They don't exist in the wild. Like, talk about unobtainium. This is simply it. And it was not a special night. This was a Thursday. That's how it goes, at least for this particular meetup. And I know that there's other meetups in other places.
A Thursday in LA is very different than a Thursday in Orlando.
Well, right. And that's that's a part of it. And so Mike got the chance to experience that. But one of the things that we talked about afterwards was the fact that, okay, here's Mike. He's coming in with me. I am a known person at this meetup, but I'm not by any means the most popular or with the best watches or anything. I'm another member. I'm another guy.
But you know what? You say that though, but the amount of people that came up and said, oh yeah, Joe, he's really good at this and that, and the Bulovas, and oh, Joe has that, and oh, I saw this, the Joe. So I'm known. I'm known. You maybe don't see it, or you may not want to admit it or whatever, but you are known within your circles.
Right.
But the point that I was the guest brought into this environment, there were 30 people there?
Easy.
Joe and I, maybe for the 2.5 hours that we were there, spent 10 minutes together.
Yeah.
Because the camaraderie that you find, especially at that particular group, is so open and so enthusiastic. Like, you don't even have to walk up to somebody. You can just be talking to someone and somebody walks up to you and is like, oh, is that what are you guys talking about? Oh yeah. And the conversations just go and go and go.
Well, but when you're in this kind of environment, so you're surrounded by other watch enthusiasts, for lack of a better term, the simple thing is like, oh, what are you wearing? You have an immediate entree. You can immediately talk, and they can tell you all about it. As a matter of fact, they would love to tell you all about it. And then they're going to say, and what are you wearing? So now you're in a conversation.
Yeah.
And you're in a conversation about specifics. Do you like this kind of strap? Do you like this kind of, what do you think about this? How about that? You can go in so many different ways. And the level of watch nerd is pretty high. It's pretty high. Like, you got people that are arguing fonts and reference numbers down to the decimal point. It's pretty deep. It's really deep. But if you haven't had the chance to experience it before,
yeah. And now here's another thing. If you've never been to a watch meet before, and you're hearing us talking about all these watches that are out there and the amount of money that's on the tables and that, it's literally 1, 2, 3, 4 high top tables, a couple of lower tables, something a little longer. Every table has a watch roll, a box, a briefcase, whatever. I mean, there's watches everywhere.
Most people are double wristing.
Not one person is worried about somebody walking off with their stuff, because the trust is there. Nobody is here to try and take your stuff away or whatever. It's a, hey, help yourself, not a problem. You want to see it, pick it up, absolutely. The people that you walk up to and is like, oh, that's nice AP, and he takes it off, he's like, try it on. It's just it's I won't say it blows my mind, because I know it happens, but it's very cool experience to
when you get to the first time it happens, the first time that somebody says like, oh yeah, my rose gold 5711, and then walks away and leaves you with it. And I can remember he took it off his wrist and handed it to somebody else. I put my hands underneath to catch in case he dropped it. It was that kind of a thing. And he was gone. And like, we're done with the watch. It's like, where did he go? It was like, oh, just put it down when you're done. Like, put it down?
No.
So we had that. It was that kind of event. The OC Chrono group was holding a raffle. They raffled off a mission to the sun.
It was a mission to the sun.
And then you hold on to your tickets. When they've raised enough money, they will be auctioning off the green seaweed 300 Omega Seamaster 300. So there's some added benefits to it. There's some pluses.
So it was a lot of fun.
But also prior to that, earlier in the day, we went to South Coast Plaza in Costa Mesa, which is one of the more, it's a destination high-end mall. Lots of couture, but the number of ADs that are there is freaking
a
ridiculous.
fantastic number.
It's
yeah.
a like and basically
So there's IWC, there was a Hulo store, there's Rolex, there's Omega, the usual, Tudor was there,
JLC,
JLC was there, Vacheron is there,
Piaget,
Piaget,
Chopard,
yeah,
Cartier was closed for remodeling.
yeah.
The Tourneau is closed for remodeling.
Moser
Will be in Tourneau.
They will be there. I was looking forward to seeing some of those.
Long,
I mean, all of the stuff that you see in the posts and in the articles and that we get to, you don't get to get hands-on sometimes, but you get to get up close and personal and take photos of it and look at them, and they look very different in person than in pictures.
yeah.
And
The proportions change when you can get physically in the same space as the watch, because we all know that there's this. Let's talk about the specs. You can look at the spec sheet, but until you actually get the watch, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And so the chance to go and see all of these and to see those, like, this is the difference in the color. This is what it looks like. This is what the scintillation is. This is how it reflects. And it's also really interesting to see who's got stock and who doesn't. And that to me was even better, because Vacheron was missing some pieces. AP had for exhibition only. We didn't even bother to go into Rolex because there's nothing there. Tudor didn't have an FXD, but they had just about everything else.
Had everything else, yeah.
We went into Lange, and they had a bunch of things in stock. However, it was 6 months out, but they could get it for you.
Mhm.
IWC had everything except for the Tahoe and the Mojave. And the master complications, grand complications, they had a phenomenal acceptance.
Glashütte, they were on order. But to get up and close with some of those, they're such an underrated brand.
Yeah, and the Chopard blew us both away.
Yeah,
Chopard was really, really good.
So it was cool to get hands on with that stuff too. It's this whole trip. It's almost watch overload. But
for you,
well, yeah, but no, I say that because you have so much at your disposal here.
Yeah,
we have some of those stores in our mall, but not to that extent.
Yeah. Oh no, totally.
And I almost hate to say it, but the money level between Orlando and LA is very different. There's a reason why those boutiques are out here and we don't have them.
Yeah. And I think probably Orlando is not the comparable space, but Miami would be.
Miami, I would.
And so you're just sort of stuck for location. It was pointed out, however, that there is a Bulova AD at the same mall, but it just happens to be inside Macy's.
I'm not saying anything.
That's not wrong. They're not wrong. So
I learned my lesson.
You should.
Yeah.
You should.
No,
okay.
Nope.
So that was Thursday.
Yeah.
And then we got to Friday. And so Friday was the idea to go up and visit Feldmar Watches in LA. And Feldmar is an independent store. It is one of the older retailers in LA. It's celebrating well over 100 years or right up around that. And with the exception of a couple of brands, AP and Rolex, I think.
Yeah, neither one of them was there.
They had just about everybody else that we saw at the mall.
And then some.
And in stock, available to buy that day immediately. And they did repair. And they could order you whatever you would like. And we met the Seiko rep. It was like, if you got any questions, ask me about it. I got all the Grand Seiko stuff. I can answer every question. That's like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And they've got used. And they had G-Shock.
And they had all the G-Shocks.
So,
but there was everything. I mean, the Omega cases were massive. Any possible Speedmaster or Seamaster variant you could want was there. As soon as you walk in the door, you walk right into Mito, Zodiac, Citizen, Bulova, Tissot, Oris was there. Who else was there? Hamilton had a case there. And then you go around the corner and then you run into Accutron, Michelle, Resonance was in there. Gosh, I'm drawing a blank. There were so many names that you just can't remember them all. U-Boat, Frank Mueller, Arnold and Sons, Breitling, the Mont Blanc. Yeah, they had all their pens.
They had all the pens, and so
they had all their pens and a couple of watches.
They did, but they had more Mont Blanc pins and watches than the boutique did.
Yeah.
Right. Who else? Parmigiani.
Parmigiani was there.
Who else?
A couple of brands that I've never even heard of. Some high-end independents. That was an overwhelming experience because, oh my gosh, look at that. You turn around like, oh my gosh, look at that. And then you go through it a second time and you're like, I didn't even see that before. And then this is really neat. And Chrono Swiss was there.
Right. Yeah. And like, point this out. So it was a really neat trip. The whole kid in the candy store analogy is apt.
Yeah.
And it flies and it works. So it was really fun. And then there's a couple good vintage spots that we got kicked out of because we obviously weren't going to buy anything.
Yeah. Well, look at us.
That's true. Yeah. And the other part that was really interesting. So let's backtrack to Thursday night real quick. One of the best pieces of advice that I could have ever received was if you're going to go anywhere in LA, make sure you have a white guy with you. So Joe is my white guy. I'm the token white guy. That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
And maybe that's why we got kicked out of that particular.
That could be the case.
You
could be right.
Anyways,
thanks for me.
Edit that out.
But the other part too is like we went down to all of these ADs and it's t-shirts and shorts. It wasn't. And my wife was saying, "It's like, oh, I always get dressed up when I go to that mall." I'm like, you know what? Screw it. If they aren't going to talk to us,
but we did it by design.
Yeah, it was a distinctive choice, and without exception, everyone that we walked into was not just polite but enthusiastic. The number of business cards we were able to glean and all the things that go with that. So it wasn't a snooty. We were not being shunned by any means.
Yeah,
they just simply didn't have the stock, and whether or not that's by design, it's hard to say. And so the AD game becomes a really interesting when you start talking about the boutiques in particular. So that's always a little bit disappointing. And I know that that's the case because, you hear about it through the industry all the time. But going to the independents who are stocking and are available and like, this is not a, for example, watch. Like you will walk out with this watch. This watch is going with you today. And when it's gone, I'll get another one. Mm-hmm. It's that kind of thing. So it was a much different sales mechanism. And I thought that was really interesting, very fascinating. So we were up in LA. We had some time to kill.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not a touristy kind of person. I don't like doing the tourist trap kind of stuff and all that. And I don't do large groups of people very well. Joe said, well, we're what do you want to see?
We had time to kill.
We had a couple of hours before we went to our dinner. And I am in my early 40s. And anybody that's in their early 40s and is a car guy knows the Fast and the Furious, right? It's just a movie that you're not in your early 40s, Joe.
Oh, fuck you.
Not in your this is what it's been like.
Wow.
So I said I really don't want to see much, but I'd like to go to Bob's Market. And if you know what Bob's Market is, that's
okay.
Torero's
now
Market.
hang on. I don't know what Bob's Market is, which means I had to look up Bob's Market, and there were two. And there's one in Echo Park, which is in the middle of nowhere. And then there's one in Santa Monica, which is by the beach. Like, okay, where are we going? And it's Bob's Market. And I'm assuming it's a car thing, but both of them say Market.
Luckily, I knew where I was going.
You did. So I showed him a picture and he's like, oh, no, we're going to that one. I'm like, okay, let's go to Echo Park. I got to see parts of LA I've never seen before. It was fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating over
because I got to see parts of LA I've never
seen.
Well,
yeah, but I live
where we
here.
went, I've never seen before.
Right. So because I'm more Orange County local and I go up into LA, but my LA is a different LA. I'm up for concerts. I'm in the music scene, so we go see that kind of stuff. And you Sunset and Gower, and that all through the west side. This was a much different experience. So drive up, find the place, and pull up to Bob's Market, and it's a bodega.
Yeah. But it was cool. It was cool to kind of, as Joe puts it, fanboy a little bit, because it's like I say, that's an iconic location for a car guy who's watched the movies. If you've seen all the franchise movies, you know what it is. And then just literally around the corner is the Toretto house. So we just walked, and Joe's like, "What is the Toretto house? I don't get what that is. This is dumb. Why am I even here?" So we walked up there. And you understood immediately how important it was, because right away pulls up a LA tour group bus.
Okay, no. You don't understand how important this is, because there's LA tour group buses everywhere in LA. They're all over the place. How many did we see? Did we pass?
It doesn't matter. The point
20,
is,
we passed nearly as many tour buses as we did weed shops.
There's a lot of weed shops.
There's a lot of weed shops.
Have any of you ever seen the movie Pineapple Express? There is a literal Pineapple Express weed shop.
There's a couple, and it's also they're labeled as this is the best,
the premier dispensary
on this side of the street on this block today.
So, point is, I got to see my Fast and Furious stuff. I was very happy. Joe got a picture of me taking a selfie in front of the house, the whole thing,
you can see it. Watch Taylor You if it's there. It's good.
We'll put it up in here. And then
we still had some more time to go.
We still had more time, and he says, I know we're gonna go.
So drive up the 101, get off on Gower, go over by the Capitol building, which I didn't recognize it was because I normally see it from a different angle. And we go to the Walk of Fame. And Mike's like,
the Capitol, not the Capitol Records building. For those that don't know, Capitol Records, the Capitol Records.
It's the Capitol building. We know.
Okay, but we don't know.
Well, that's your fault.
We know now.
We know.
Okay,
you and me.
Capitol Records.
Capitol building. Anyway, we go in, and Mike's like, it's too high. Like, who's? So take a picture, and walks 5 more feet, takes a picture. It is the coolest thing you didn't know you liked.
The Walk of Fame.
It's the Walk of Fame.
And
who knew? Right. And then on top of that, there is no rhyme or reason to where anybody is. And so you've got Beyonce next to Fuzzy Zeller next to, it's like, it's just stupid how they go. There's no, all of the Beatles were together. The Beatles were in a row.
Yeah. What's the intersection where Neil Armstrong has
Hollywood and Vine
on every single corner? Is
Hollywood and Vine, the Apollo astronauts.
Yeah,
you got them on every corner because it was radio, TV, and film, and so they have their own space because it was one of the most important events that ever happened in radio, TV, and film.
I think Jennifer Lopez had the 2500 stars, a special plaque, and it was cool to see. It was neat. It was it's the one thing that you don't know you want to look at.
Yeah, if you get the chance, it's worth an meander up and down. You pay a couple bucks for parking and just go walk, because there's stuff there that you didn't know that you liked. And then we went down the street and we got a drink at the world famous Rainbow Bar and Grill. And
the Lemmy Bar.
Mike got to have his picture near the statue of Lemmy that's been put up, and he was not impressed by all of the hair metal paraphernalia on the inside, which that's my Hollywood.
Not that I wasn't impressed. It's not my sort of thing.
Right. Well, your level of excitement was about the same as me at the Toretto house. Okay.
Okay. That's fair.
We're comparable.
We'll go with that one. That's
all right. Yeah. And so then we drove from there. We drove up Laurel Canyon, and we went to our dinner that night. So Neighborhood Watch Club was hosting a dinner with Horage, the Swiss company, and they had brought in some really interesting pieces.
They're a small Swiss independent.
Micro brand-ish, would we call them that? Would you say?
Yeah, you can throw in a micro brand. And if you don't know who Horage is, you may have heard of the Tourbillon 1, which was, I may be incorrect, but I believe that was their very first release.
I think so.
they're doing now they're doing all in-house stuff. I think their first couple of things were outsourced, and they were modifying movements perhaps, but now they're in-house. They're doing silicone escapement, silicone hairsprings, platinum micro rotors. They're doing GMTs. They're doing what was that one called?
Lensman.
The
Lensman 1,
Where
Lensman 1,
you-
Lensman 2.
you rotate to your outside conditions and you line up your f-stops, and it tells you how long your exposure should be. I mean,
It's a wonderful camera.
it's a
watch.
camera calculator
Uh-huh.
watch is the way that it's marketed. Super cool, very cool stuff. But the guy comes out, did real neat plastic cases that you can open up, and it's just it's a free for all. You want to see something? Yeah, here, take it.
Put it
Pick
on,
try
try
it
it
on, take pictures of it, ask questions. You know, when
They
you're
have
done,
they
pick
have that.
something else up.
I'm calling it. I will claim the title now. It is the Screw You Jobu Tourbillon, which is they wanted to do another tourbillon and they were having trouble with production. They couldn't get a movement manufacturer to do exactly what they wanted, and they said, "Screw it, we'll do it ourselves." And so it's the Screw You Jobu.
And
Should be "Fuck You Jobu" because that's the line from the movie. But I can't say that because you're not going to put that in print, and they aren't going to be able to. You know, the kids won't like it.
you just said it.
I know, but this is after dark,
Okay. After, but it's still light out.
not where you are.
Turn off your lights.
So
But that was a cool one because I've gone on record and said that the tourbillon is my favorite complication that you can put in a watch. A flying tourbillon even more so.
right. This
But
it's a
it's-
fixed, but it has that Cyclops.
But well, that's what I'm getting
Yeah.
at. It's really neat because you have a Cyclops date, right? The Cyclops over the date window. This is over the tourbillon to magnify just the art. The guy, the representative that was there, said it's moving art.
Yeah.
It's art in motion, is what
Yeah.
he said, and it really is.
It is. It is.
The amount of engineering and the complexity involved in doing the tourbillon, one of the oldest watch complications that there is,
Right.
is one of the most complex ones. And to really showcase it underneath a magnifier on
And also
on
to
the
do
dial
that
is cool.
in-house. I mean, the number of in-house tourbillons, it's a handful. And so now there's one more. The finishing is excellent. You can see their design language is transitioning, and it's gonna be a really exciting brand to watch. It's something that you like if you get the chance to hold one or to manage one I recommend it. I recommend it highly. We had a good time there.
But let's talk real quick. The dynamic of collectors at that event versus the OC Chrono event was apparent.
It was different.
There were different conversations that were involved. How do you describe, because it's a different club altogether.
It is. It's a different club. It's a different group of people. The numbers were lower, so there were only maybe really 10 people that were there.
Yeah.
There wasn't as many folks that were involved, and so the conversations were more sequestered around what it is that you liked. And so there were a couple of heavy Vacheron collectors. There was somebody who was only getting high end, new, no vintage. It was that sort of versus Mike and I are into heavy American vintage watches, and also stuff from the 30s. We go back to like beginning of essentially wrist horology with World War I and watches from that period forward. So in our collection we both have watches from the 20s and the 30s. And some of these guys wouldn't have touched those with a 10-foot pole. And that's okay because it takes all kinds of collectors. The conversations were interesting, but I do not have an opinion about the font on an FP Journe. But not that there isn't an opinion to have. It's just that's not what I had. I did end up having a very fascinating and lovely conversation with a young lady who was discussing vintage Disney watches, and she wants the goofy that goes backwards.
Yeah.
And a mechanical. And that was.
But I think the takeaway from it is, if you're looking to become a part of a group, a club, whatever label you want to put on it, there's more than one. So if you go to a meetup and it doesn't go quite the way that you had hoped it would, go to another one, go to a different group, because it's not a one size fits all type of scenario. Everybody is open and cordial, but you're going to get different people, you're going to get different conversations. Find the one that you're comfortable in having fun in, because it's all about having fun.
Right. And it was interesting too, though, because there was no snobbery that was involved. Everyone was interested in, like, what are you wearing? What is the watch that you have? And so the Vacheron the collector brought, that Vacheron was lovely.
Yeah.
And the other watches that were there, Jared, who ran it, had a arguably a better example of the Haraj watch
Your
than
GMT
than the representative brought.
Yeah.
Like his watch, I like that one better than I did. However, he did have a 1-of-1 black dial that was the same. Like, it was also really nice. Haraj, however, and this is something that I was having a conversation about earlier at the Thursday meetup. Haraj has a power reserve on the dial. I am not a power reserve on the dial fan. I don't like it. It breaks it up. I do not care for it. Haraj has got a power reserve on the dial at 6, and there's no scale on it. Instead, they've got pips around the perimeter of the sub dial,
increasingly larger.
Yeah, goes from large to small all the way around, and it's a fantastic way to do that.
The way that they hide it in the dial, you look at it and you see small seconds, but it's your power indicator.
It's a power indicator.
It was very well done.
And it was a clever solution to a problem that no one really cares about, except me. Yeah. I'm the only one, because I talk to the Grand Seiko collectors. I talk to people who're like, oh no, I love it. It's part of their design language. I'm like,
and it is. In certain dials it works.
Yeah, it does.
And
Right.
in some of them you get the neon lime green hands, and I like that sort of thing. But then I get it too. Sometimes it's just you put it there to put it there, and it's not good. So, but they did good with that one.
They did.
I will say
they did. And the cocktails were great. It was a nice event. It was good. It was a fun event to go to. So that was Friday.
So that leads us into Saturday. Saturday is the day, we'll call that the day that Mike went broke.
Well, okay, maybe we started off with the swap meet. We'll go with that. We started off with the swap meet.
Yeah.
I was hosting a barbecue, and so when I barbecue, it's typically enough to feed an army, and that's really the draw. That's why Mike's here, because the
reason why I came is because I was promised a slow cooked piece of brisket.
Yes,
that's why I came here.
Yes.
I could have just come in on Saturday and left today.
You could have.
It would have been okay.
You could have. Successful. Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. So woke up early. Mike had a bit of a slow morning because apparently he's not used to ain't no party like a California party.
I've consumed more alcohol in the last 4 days than I have probably in the last 4 months.
He didn't train. I
did not. Yeah, my 20s was far too long ago for it to carry over to now.
Those of us not in our mid 40s know better. So I put the meat on the grill, got the barbecue going, and it was going to take hours. So we had a day. Went over to the swap meet to take a look at some of the interesting watch booths. So, like, depending on where you are and what your local is like, some swap meets will have, the as seen on TV stuff. This one is still a little bit more legit, and it's people who bring in whatever they find. There's pickers that go through. So there's a number of watch spaces, and they're advertising that we replace batteries. However,
the big thing, yeah.
However, there's some gold in there, and there's a guy there that does Accutron repair, and I had my railroad needed some work, so brought it over and see what we can do.
There's a guy there at the end of a table, a folding table, a rickety folding table at that, who's got the back of a something on the table, and he's working in the open air.
Yeah.
Just want to point that one out.
Well, who needs
in the open air? Who cares about dust?
who needs a clean room? The breeze is going to take it away. It's
Yeah.
fine. And then he cracks open my Accutron.
A mechanical something. I think that's important to know.
Mechanical thing.
Because-
He wasn't replacing a battery.
no, he was fixing something legit.
So we go wandering around, and there's a lovely assortment. What highlights from that?
There was some Omega Dynamics. There were Wakeman chronographs. There were suspect Rolexes.
Dirty Dozen IWC,
There was an IWC, yeah, Broad Arrow.
Zodiacs,
There were Zodiacs, SSTs, astrographs,
Space Views,
There were Space View clocks.
Space View clocks. That's
Yeah,
right. That's right.
There were those. So there was a real cool assortment of stuff
And then there were Rolexes that had a sticker
with
saying
a label,
genuine sapphire.
It made me want to buy one.
I bet we could have got a deal. A genuine sapphire.
And the very seldom seen Quartz Submariner.
Also true. Also
had
true.
one of those.
Yes.
I know where to find one. If anybody wants, DM me. I'll go back and get it for you.
Deadbeat seconds. It was amazing.
Deadbeat seconds. Yeah.
So then we came back home, and I had to finish cooking. And our friend of the show, Watches with Oliver, came
Watches
down
with Oliver.
and brought.
So not only did I get to meet Joe for the first time, I get to meet Oliver for the first time. We've all talked. Joe and I, you and I talk very regularly on a daily basis. Oliver, we have a group text with him. Probably maybe once or twice a day, we'll get involved with that conversation.
He pines over no love for Caravel.
Crimea River. Come on, Oliver, be better. Be better, Oliver.
Oh yeah, but then he just got that the Bulova Quartz surfboard reissue that he managed to mess up
That he hates.
within what 12 hours, less than
Yeah.
that.
Gouged the case back.
Lost the loom pip.
He gouged the case back, lost the loom pip on the bezel, and somehow managed to unscrew the case tube from the crown. See, alcohol. The crown tube from the case.
Okay. It's impressive. Oliver's an impressive individual. But
it was cool to meet him. He's a great guy.
but the conversation, this is where it goes off of the chain. The conversation was, is there anything that you want me to bring? And Mike said, well, I'd like to see this and this. And Oliver says, I'm bringing everything. He's like, well, are you going to bring this too? He says, I'm bringing everything. Dude showed up with a desk clock.
He brought everything.
He brought everything. So I'm in doing something. Oliver comes in. I have to go take out the trash, and I come back up, and there's a desk clock, and there's a couple of watch boxes, and it's like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Because it's different. We're not talking like a travel clock. We're talking size of a shoebox desk clock. It was huge and awesome. It was absolutely awesome.
It was a Bulova transistorized open movement. Like you turn it around, and you look at the back, and everything's ticking away. The gears are
double A
moving.
battery
Yeah.
world timer clock. Very cool.
Yeah.
Massively jealous. I would put it right here. I would get rid of the cigar box.
Oliver, if you want to donate to the Spring Bar Studios West set,
Yes.
we'll take your donation.
Yes. and then we ate a bunch of food.
Then we ate a bunch of food.
We ate a bunch of food.
But so I didn't bring all my watches.
No, Mike
Oliver
had a travel
brought
light.
All his watches. You have all your watches
That's
because
my house.
it was at your house. We'll put a couple of pictures up here. The amount of watches that were strewn about your outside table was fantastic.
The comments that we got was like, that's a lot of watches, and you couldn't see the ones that Oliver had left on the ground.
Yeah,
Like you were missing probably another good
there was
30
another.
easily. It was nuts. It was so much fun. It was so because you don't,
So here's the thing. You want Oliver to come over at like what 4:30.
yeah, that's
Right.
that's what dinner was
Oliver's
gonna be.
like, "What? We're going to need more time because every time we get together, we go for hours." He's like, "I'm going to come early." He showed up at like 1:30 ish, 1:30. He left at what time?
Almost 10.
He was here for 9 hours.
He was here for 9 hours.
And the comment that he made afterwards was, we could have gone on forever.
It's true.
9 hours
It's
was
true.
not enough.
It wasn't. But it's that sort of thing. Like when you're surrounded by people that appreciate your little bit of weird, because the watch thing is a very specific weird. And I think we can all admit that. And when you're by people who can appreciate that, but then also you get to actually see, you get hands-on with the whatever. And
It's Instagram come to life.
it is, but in your hand. And so you now, okay, I didn't like that. I do now. I didn't know I wanted that. I do now. I thought I liked that. I don't want it now.
Okay.
You can.
All right. Let's get into the things that I didn't know that I wanted, but I bought from you anyways. I am leaving California
Yes, you are.
with 4 watches.
Yes, you are.
I did not come with extra space to bring 4 watches home with me.
You did not.
No. Joe had to give me a watch roll because
Yes,
I
I
am
did.
leaving with so much stuff that I had nowhere to put it.
Correct. Correct.
So-
I want to make sure the TSA doesn't plow through his stuff.
Yeah. Let's get into the money that I've lost. I mean, spent. Okay. So there is we'll just get into it. This is what you call the handsome devil. This is a Caravel. Nobody really knows the origin of where this thing comes from. What's the size- what's the size of it?
1967, 33
33 millimeter, long twisted lugs.
Swiss movement.
Now you can get a 25 jewel and you can get a 17 jewel.
Correct. 2 versions.
They
Two dial iterations, maybe
Yep.
3.
black dial, silver dial. One of them has different markers. It's a real unknown, but they
Correct.
are so cool, so cool. So you had an extra one that you bought just because it was available to you, and you bought it because you just want to be able to control the market. for it.
Impulse buy.
Yeah. So this is, we'll hold it up here. I'm real far away from the camera.
You're very far.
We'll put a picture up of it, but you know I have it in hand.
It's really here.
It really exists. So we settled on a price, and the form of payment was drinks. So I have been buying you drinks every time we go to a meetup, every time we go to a dinner, every time we go whatever. I am in charge of drinks.
I did very well.
That is how I paid for that watch. Joe did very well.
A good time was had by me.
So then we start going through some stuff, and somebody had made the comment, and pictures that I posted. I think the first day, Thursday, the first full day, you brought out some stuff, and we were looking at, and I'm taking pictures, and I'm making posts on Instagram. And somebody said, "Wow, Joe's got a really, good collection of watches. Got a lot of nice stuff." And I said, "You don't even know the half of it." I said, "The stuff that you haven't even seen that Joe has is amazing." And he's like, "Oh, well, I've got stuff that you haven't even seen." So you bring out another half dozen more watches that's not sitting out for the 70 or so watches that are out here. You just come with 2 handfuls of stuff. And in it,
I've got depth and range.
depth, yeah, we'll call it that. So I'm looking through some stuff, and you have a Bulova Marine Star 100 meter. It's essentially the Bulova Submariner clone, really.
Or the Pelagos clone. Yeah.
The Pelagos, yeah.
Yeah. The quartz.
Stainless, black dial, black
Uh-huh.
bezel, quartz movement, 43 millimeters
Yeah.
on a bracelet. And I put it on, and I'm like, you know what? That would make a real cool work watch for me. Functional, easy to read, no nonsense, waterproof, ready to go. And he said, "Oh, I got here. This is a work watch for you." And you throw me, and it's a hammer that tells time.
It is. It is. It's a massive case. What, probably 15?
It's probably 15 thick. It's got to be 43 at least. I don't even want to know what the lug to lug is. Very straight lugs. Does not wear well. Gigantic bezel.
Solid bezel. No rotation. It's just a hunk of watch.
Yeah. It's a Duluth Trading Company stamped field watch, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Close
24-hour
enough, yeah.
scale, 12-hour scale, 60-minute scale. Black dial, white hands, date window. I mean, it does everything you want it to do. Exhibition,
Serif
case
font.
back.
I mean, it's cool. It's like what we think it's a Seiko movement, right?
No, this is a Miyota movement.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miyota
Yeah.
movement.
Miyota, what does it say? 21 joule automatic Miyota movement. So screw down. So here's the funny part: screw down crown, screw down case back, 5 ATM water resistant, guaranteed. Nothing but the best from Duluth.
Under promise and over deliver.
Yeah. So this one didn't cost me anything. You said you want it, take it. It was a freebie.
Goodness of my heart.
Good, because it's like with every purchase you get a free gift. So everybody has probably seen, and if you haven't seen it, go back in either Joe's account, my account. There are very rare. Rare is a word that gets tossed around a lot. These are genuinely rare. It is a gold case.
Collectively, I think we've seen 7.
And we, between us, own 5 of them.
I think.
Yeah. It's a gold cased. It's a Bulova Oceanographer Dual Day Setomatic 666
With
Canadian market,
orange seconds hand,
orange seconds hand.
gold markers.
It's a very funky. You probably know what I'm describing. It's this thing right here. I have a beautiful example. NOS. It was a jeweler's display watch. I was the 4th owner of it. When I bought it, I did the backtracking of the owners and got as much information on it as I could.
Nobody wears them.
Nobody wears them. Nobody has them. They are from Canada. It's just an amazing. It is arguably the best example of one you will ever see, ever. I bought it 2 years ago. It was a buy at all costs, bid until I win, because I know I'll never find another one. And that's what I did. And I've had it. And I never wore it. I never wore it because it was so perfect. I didn't want to scratch it. I didn't want to mess it up. It came serviced. The owner that I bought it from serviced it right before I bought it. So, I mean, it is perfect in every single way.
I wanted it. I've wanted it forever. We've negotiated. There's a price. And at the time came, that would be the case.
But here's the story is Joe found a lot of 3
4.
it was 4
4.
derelict versions of the watch.
None of them were working.
None. Well, no, they were working though.
Working.
Enough. Worked enough. So Joe bought them, sent them to me. I made the best of the worst, put everything together. He ended up with a case that you say is a 7 out of 10. I say it's lower than that, probably a 5 out of 10. It's missing plating. If you sent it off and had it replated, it would be great. The crystal was able to be saved. The dial was fantastic. The hands were good. I was able to get a movement running enough and working enough where you can set the time, set the day, date, all that kind of stuff. It was a usable example.
Right. Out of the 4. So we clued together 1 from 4.
Yeah. Another one went to a friend of ours. One got sold and returned. Another one is still here.
Mm-hmm.
Back to the conversation of what would you like to see? I said, what do you want to see the gold? Well, no, I already have one. So I'm not, really concerned with seeing it. Okay, fine. So the last minute I'm packing stuff together and I said, you know what? I'm going to bring it with just in case, because you really need to see how good this watch is in person. No intent of letting it go. I'm not selling it. I was afraid to even bring it here because, again, I don't want it to get scratched. Showed Joe the watch, and cartoon hearts came beating out of his eyes. We're talking really Roger
good.
Rabbit style.
Well, but it's worse than that though, because Mike immediately said, "Go get yours," and look at the 2 together.
When you put them side by side,
Yeah, the difference is stark. It's the difference between looking at a Rolls Royce and looking at a Chrysler 300. Chrysler 300 looks like a Rolls Royce until it's sitting right next to a Rolls Royce. There's a difference.
Yeah,
it's stark.
So that's the story of a watch that I have that Joe wanted. Joe has a watch that I want, that I have been after you for the last at least 2 years to sell me. I have said, Joe, name a price. I want to buy that watch. I've wanted one for a while. I want the one that you have because it is beautiful. And you never named me a price.
Never.
No, I like it. No, I'm not ready to sell it yet. No, I said, I want first right of refusal when the day comes. Well, the day came. Joe has a late 60s Bulova Accutron signed astronaut, stainless steel, stainless bezel, beautiful cream loom on signed coffin link bracelet. It is just beautiful. 214, if you don't know. It's a gorgeous watch. When we went to the meetup on Thursday, I said, Joe, I says, please, can I wear this watch? I put it on the wrist. Oh, I fell in love instantly. Never seen one before in person until this trip.
Yeah.
I've always seen the pictures of it.
Yeah.
Everybody talks about how great they are, the history involved, it's iconic and synonymous with historical Bulova and Accutron.
Yes.
I have wanted this watch so badly for so long. Seeing the hearts that came out of Joe's eyes, I said, Joe,
Mike hatched a plan.
I am not leaving California without this watch. You can either sell it to me, but sell it quick because I'm running out of money because I keep buying all his drinks, or how do you feel about a trade? Then the wheels started turning. So the values that we each set on our own watches were pretty comparable. We agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Oliver was here.
Mm-hmm.
He was our independent adjudicator.
We had a witness.
He oversaw the negotiations.
Yes.
Everything was on the up and up and legal.
Yes.
And
We shook on it.
there was excess alcohol involved.
Yes.
We did the Texas handshake.
Yes.
We made the trade.
Yes.
So I am now the proud owner of a Accutron astronaut.
And I have the Canadian 666 to wear with my Canadian tuxedo the next time I want to do double denim.
Double denim, yeah. Now let me say something. We both posted up that we made the trade. I have gotten some comments. I don't know if you had on yours post or not. Some people said, "Oh, well, you came out on top," and "Oh, who got that?" and "Oh, blah 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 blah." Neither one of us, I think, regrets on any level making a trade because you are very happy with what you have.
It's fairly level, but it comes down to it goes back to this sort of idea that if you have pieces in your collection that you don't wear, that you don't want to wear, that you worry about or anything, it's like, okay, move it on. It's time to go. The astronaut, I love. There are some issues with it. Mike is aware of those issues. And that was one of the reasons I didn't really want to sell it. But all that aside, it still puts it into a comparable space. So he wouldn't wear the gold watch. I didn't wear the astronaut nearly enough. So now they both go to loving new homes.
Now you've worn that for most of today.
Yes.
I've had this on several times.
Yes.
We're both extremely happy. So
it's worked out well.
If that watch was going to go to any collection, it had to, hands down, without a doubt, come to this collection.
Yes.
You are the premier 666 collector on this block, Joe.
Without question.
Without question.
Without question. That we know of today.
And he's not even high.
No. I don't go to the dispensaries.
No.
Mike just takes pictures of it from the
They come
outside.
to you because you can.
They do. You can order.
You
You
can get
can-
delivery, curbside pickup. I mean,
it's really fascinating.
It's a thing.
exciting.
It's a thing.
So,
So
that was Saturday.
So I think it's important to note that this was a trade and cash offer.
Yes.
So there was some cash that changed hands.
Yes.
Okay. Because we're talking about how thin my wallet is getting.
Yes.
Thin from that.
Yes.
Thin from this.
Yes.
Okay. Not thin from the
No.
Duluth
Because it's a thick watch.
because it's a thick watch. Then I'm looking at some of Oliver's stuff. Now, a handful of months ago, you sent me your Caravelle 666 clipper
Mhm.
to be refinished.
2.
You sent me 2 of them, yeah.
Okay.
So what we did was another thing similar to what these gold ones were.
Yeah.
We took all the best of the worst, made one really good watch, and I took that watch and I refinished the case for you. And it's if I can kind of brag a little bit, one of the better restorations
Yeah.
that I have done. That watch came out beautiful.
It's very well done. It's
On
very
a
well
Strapsco ladder bracelet.
done. Uh-huh.
It's a chunky piece. It's a gorgeous dial. It's kind of nicknamed the monster dial.
Yeah.
Got the teeth for the hour markers. Your dial is newer, kind of minty loom.
Yeah.
We got a set
Matches the
of hands
hands.
that match that loom. It's just beautiful. And ever since I did that watch, I've wanted to buy one. I've tried on several occasions to bid on some, but I've lost out because they've always sold for real high dollars.
Yeah.
It's
$700.
an under the radar watch that
Yeah.
you don't know you want until you have to bid for it, and then you want it.
Yeah.
So you kept the nice version.
Uh-huh.
You sold Oliver the other version, which still ran.
Mhm.
It was,
It was-
I kind of tended to that case a little bit too, just because
Yeah.
the original plan was you were going to take and resell it.
Yeah.
The dial wasn't quite all there. It was missing some lumen, was missing some paint, it was missing some text. But Oliver bought it, kind of got bit by the bug. So he bought another example, which wasn't quite all there either. It needed a few things. But over the course of the time that he had it, he bought a nicer dial for it. He bought a new bezel insert for it. He bought a new crystal, the correct crystal that belongs in the watch.
Yeah.
The case that it comes with is beautiful. It's on what I'm guessing is the original Tropic strap.
Yeah.
And
Like it's a hooded lug, but it's got a curve.
the curve,
And
yeah.
so it's a curved Tropic that fits under. It's good. It's real good.
So he's showing me this watch, and I instantly fall in love. It's like, oh, and I told him, I said, oh, I've wanted. Joe has the one, like there it is in the box right there. Look at it. He's comparing it. He's like, yeah, it's really nice. And I said, oh, I want one so bad. He goes, well, make me an offer. He says, I'm trying to downsize anyways, and I made it real nice, and I just don't wear it as much as I should wear it. And if you like it that much, make me an offer. Anybody knows me, I don't make offers. You make me an offer. You make me want to buy your watch. So I said, no. I said, you tell me what you want for it. I'm not, because I don't want to insult him. We're all friends. I said, tell me what you want for it. And he throws out a price. And I'm thinking about it, and I'm looking at it, and he says, well, I'll do this price. Okay. Now Oliver gave me a watch because I'm going to be redoing that case for him as well. And I'm looking at it, and I'm falling in love. And he says, you know what, take it home with you, wear it for a little while. If you want it, great. If you don't, send it back when you're done with the other watch. That's fine. And I'm like, you know what? No, for that price, I'm your buyer. I'll buy it. Shook hands. My wallet got thinner. So I'm now the proud owner of a 1975 Caravelle Clipper with gorgeous creamy brown loom. I mean, it's what would you say, a 9 out of 10?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I will definitely wear this watch for sure. I may have to move a few things, so stay tuned. 120 clicks watches for sale in the near future. So that's 4 watches: the Caravelle,
Mhm.
the Astronaut,
Mhm.
the Handsome Devil,
Mhm.
and the Duluth.
Mhm. That's Saturday. Today's Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday, we go up to the cars, coffee, and
Coffee.
chronograph,
Chronos, cars,
caffeine,
whatever.
crankshafts,
There were watches and cars
and coffee.
and coffee.
No curlers though.
No,
A couple of croissants.
was there?
I think so.
Okay.
We didn't have breakfast there.
There were T-shirts.
And t-shirts.
Yeah.
All right. We had other stuff. So also in another space that I've never been to.
A very weird
It was
location.
It was interesting to get to. It was sort of adjacent to Dodger Stadium, but right up against the freeway, but kind of in the back and behind a gate. Excellent time though, and the stuff that showed up, including Magnus Walker, was really, really interesting.
including Magnus Walker, who was wearing a what, Joe?
He's wearing a moon swatch.
He was wearing a Mission to the Moon.
Whatever. His dog was nice. So there, and it's when if you're thinking about watch people associated with cars, naturally there were a lot of Porsches.
Mhm.
The Volvo was really cool though.
There was even a Porsche design watch there.
There was a Porsche design watch.
Yeah.
So there was a selection of vintage watches for sale. There were a few people who brought collections.
Oh, an amazing
collections of watches.
selection of vintage watches for sale.
Yeah, the Neighborhood Watch Co. guys have got some really interesting things, and they also it's a KEE piece, keypiece.co straps, of which since I was newly flush with cash, I was able to purchase some of. And so they're FKM rubber. This one is a vintage Tropic that matches all of the markings and the orange markings on this chronograph. But there's also these other two, which are sort of a sail
great strap.
Oh, good God.
It's
just come apart.
The strap is just broke.
As I put it down on I think that was more user error than anything else. These are sailcloth on the top and then rubber on the back, which, as many of you know, I have an aversion to leather on divers. And so this sort of scratches all of the itches.
They're FKM rubber.
FKM rubber
lined sailcloth straps, so you got
quick release.
Yeah,
so you can see I can put this one back on right now, and there won't be a problem.
A black one, a gray one. The Tropic is FKM. If you guys have never tried an FKM rubber strap, stay away from silicone. I love silicone straps. It's very comfy to wear. Sometimes you get all that weird fuzziness and stuff that sticks to them. FKM rubber is where it's at. If you're looking for a strap and you need a recommendation, FKM rubber straps. They are real pliable, soft, no break-in time.
No break-in at all. This is I've been wearing this one for the last couple hours, and it's fantastic. The
kicker though of this, and I wish you had it here. The strap. So just look at the Bull of a Surfboard Quartz reissue. It comes on a orange Tropic strap,
silicon base,
very orange, bright orange,
blaze orange, but it doesn't match the loom.
The fade, this is more of a peach,
almost.
The fade is perfect for that watch,
for this watch. Yeah, I saw it and okay, yeah, and it worked. It's like done, and the cars were really good.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It was a good time.
It was pretty fun. It was neat. Everywhere we go, as far as watch meets, it seems this week. Oh, you're the Bull. Oh, he says you know about this, and oh, I have a watch. Can you tell me what it is? Oh, the Bulova guys. So I guess we've made names for ourselves, whether that's good or bad.
We are known now within the community.
Seems bad for me because every time somebody entices me with a Bulova, as this is, I buy it. So here's the thing.
You're not having left yet.
I know. Here's the thing. I'm leaving with 4 watches. The day that I left Florida to come here, I bought a watch. I bought, gosh, I'm trying to think of what year it is. It's a mid 60s, 64, 65 Bull of a wrist alarm.
That's right. Yeah.
And I've wanted a wrist alarm for the longest time. I think they're very fascinating. I'm terrified of the movements going wrong, but I think just the fun of a wrist alarm, you pull out the crown. The dual crown is cool. I like dual crown watches.
It's neat.
But just the buzzing, it's not like an alarm like you are used to, like the it's a buzzing cricket. Vulcan cricket. It sounds just like that.
Yeah.
So I had one that came up for a really, really good price. Says it probably needs a service. It's a little gummy to set the time. So not a problem. I got a guy. We know a guy. You're not in Jersey.
No.
We know a guy. So it'll go out, it'll get serviced, it'll be fresh, so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm really, really excited. I'll meet up with him and pick it up maybe a few days after I get home. The Jetstars, the new Jetstar releases. I've made it very known that I'm going to purchase all 3 of them. So yes. I was sent a Stars and Stripes sample.
Yes.
They said, well, just hang on to that one because there's no point in you sending it back for us to send you one after you buy it. So we'll figure it all out just so that way, saves some shipping. Just that one keep, and then we'll figure out all the, the prices and the cost afterwards. So that one I have in hand. It came here with me, so we were able to pass it around and show it off. But the other 2, the Merlot dial and the Butterscotch dial, are on their way to my house as we speak. They should be there by the time I get home. So get ready for pictures. Well, you'll probably already see the pictures by the time this video comes out.
It's true.
So that is a wrist alarm 2 Jetstars on top of the one that I already have, and 4 watches that I bought here. So that is 7 watches in the last 5 days that I have purchased.
Somebody's gonna be having a fire sale.
So
Watch this space.
yeah. I've gone a little crazy.
Yeah.
I've gone a little crazy.
But it's been fun.
I said that I wanted something to mark the trip with.
Well, you've got a few.
I've got a lot of somethings.
You got a few.
But like I said last night, if I was going to buy something, I'd rather buy from friends.
It worked out. No, it worked out.
From you.
It worked out. You did.
And because of that, this astronaut will remain in my collection. It will never leave because it was your watch, and it was a trade that.
It's notable.
Yeah.
This is a notable trade. I agree. I like it. We did good.
So that was Saturday.
That was Saturday.
We spent a lot of time on Saturday.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff went down Saturday.
Yeah. Saturday, Sunday, leaves on Monday. Thank God.
Yeah. So yeah. No, that's right. We talked about today. We did the cars, coffee, t-shirts, chronos, and now we're doing this.
So we're done recording. Now it's time to eat some leftovers.
It's been fun. I'm glad we got to do this. I'm glad we got to get together. This has been a long time coming. Now you need to come to Florida.
It's true.
KC has expressed his intent to come to Disney World with his wife. I guess she has never been.
All right. Well, we can make that happen.
We'll make that happen. I have a couch with your name on it.
Perfect. My wife will be staying at the hotel.
Yeah. So so that's
the story.
Shenanigans. So Saturday night, after all the alcohol, throw in a black light flashlight and a couple of orange oceanographers, and you get some weird disco videos.
Also true.
You probably have seen that one. If not, go back and look for them.
Go back and take a look.
They're fantastic. So
All right.
Yeah, that's what's happened. That's our California trip. That's Mike and Joe. So we appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't seen the episode, the KC 7 watch episode, go out and watch it. It's going to come out shortly after this. And if you've seen that episode, thanks for coming back and watching this one. But until next time, Joe, you're empty again.
I'm empty again. Cheers.